An adjunct instructor here in the Gen Ed department. I teach art history, and so far I've had a really good experience. The students seem to be really engaged with the material, and a lot of them come in, and I kind of like to survey on a scale of 1 to 10 their excitement for taking my class. And usually it's on the low scale, because it's just something that they might not necessarily see as applicable to their particular field of interest. So what I try to do with my lectures is cater to every one of our students, and I like to look at my roster and say, okay, what's the percentage of business students that I have? What's the percentage of healthcare admin students that I have? So instead of doing a traditional, teacher to learner kind of situation, what I like to do is do a lot of Socratic seminars, assign a reading, do a lecture, the reading pertains to the lecture, and then the students actually talk amongst themselves about the reading and how it applies to their field of interest. So a lot of them come out of the class and say, wow, okay, I'm healthcare management student, there's art therapy. A lot of art therapy options for potential patients to help them with whatever it is that they're struggling with. So today we're going to talk about some professional development resources that everybody can utilize. And most of it is going to be through the internet, except for the first two ones that I'll talk about. So let's face it, fulfilling all of the required professional development hours can seem daunting and, sometimes a little bit unpleasant, right? We have busy lives. Everybody's kind of, doing their own thing, and especially if you're an adjunct instructor like me, you might have another job or two other jobs. So sometimes it's difficult because sometimes you might say to yourself, well, I am in the professional world, right? But forwarding education is also, always important. So, not to fear, because I've compiled a great list for you guys. It's going to be timely and fun for you all. And someone's got to do it, right? So we should all know about in-services by now, right? You all are here. Instructors are required to attend at least one in-service per quarter, so one in-service every 3 months usually, right? And they're offered usually on the second Tuesday of each month at 3:30 unless otherwise noted. And sometimes, like I know with the snow, things sometimes get, unforeseen circumstances kind of mess up our puzzle. And evening instructors, I can kind of sense your panic. I know a lot of, and I don't know if we have any evening instructors here, do I? Okay, so a lot of evening instructors might express some concern that they may not be able to attend in-services because they may have other jobs, which is why they teach at night. So what we're doing is in-services will now be recorded, just like what we're doing here, and available for you to access through the YouTube account so that you can kind of watch them on your own time at your own convenience. So that's a really nice thing that we're trying to do, and I think it'll work out really well. And then we also have to have these outside hours, which are really the concern, right? Is we can all pretty much make sure that we do in-services, but what about the outside hours, and how do you utilize those resources that are out there? So I kind of made up a list of a few options where you all can access professional development hours. And one of these photocopies here, the first thing you could do is a scholarly journal article. And everybody's familiar with our BMC Online library, right? Well, what's great about our BMC Online library is it gives us access to scholarly articles in journals that are free for us, right? Rather than even, going to the public library. So this professional development reporting sheet really kind of pertains specifically to this process of obtaining professional development hours through scholarly journals. And so I picked, my favorite one is Art in America. And so you choose one that pertains to your field, and I think ideally it should contain information that you will then in turn use in your class, right? Because there's really no point in reading something just for gaining professional development hours if you're not going to be able to utilize that information and actually apply it and teach your students in turn, right? So you go through the BMC Online library, and what they are asking us to do is do an APA citation of the article in APA format, print the article and staple it to this sheet. Read, highlight, and summarize the article, and that counts as 4 hours of credit in professional development. Should be double spaced. And then your practical application in the classroom, if you then go on to the next step and kind of go beyond and discuss how you plan to use this information in the classroom and how it might help students understand the material in a better way, that counts for an additional hour of professional development. Then you make up a presentation to your peers, kind of similar to what I'm doing right here, right? Staple the presentation then to this, and then that counts for an additional hour credit in professional development. So now all of a sudden we have 6 hours, right? And it's something that you'll actually be able to use in your class. So option number 2, attend a conference. And I know someone special in here is going to be attending a conference. Will you briefly tell us about what you're doing?
Next month on Friday, on that first Friday in April, I'll be presenting a paper at the annual conference sponsored by Unity Institute and Seminary in Unity Village, Missouri. And this will be my first time presenting a paper at a conference.
That's so exciting.
Wow.
That's so exciting. So that is really kind of an ideal way, because us as educators and also in the professional world, conferences, I believe, are really important because it puts you in a room with peers who, are your equals, who are pursuing the same field of study as you are, finding, more and more new research and development in your field. And it's always important to stay on top of that new research, and especially people in the medical profession, right? Research and new things are so important. So there are ways to gain great knowledge through your peers. Presenting a paper or just attending a conference is a way for you to get professional development hours. And I've kind of put a list of potential locations that would hold conferences, and you can utilize the websites, especially, we're kind of surrounded by institutions of higher learning in Greenville, right? We have Furman, we have Clemson, we have Bob Jones, we have all of these wonderful institutions, including Brown Mackie, that do hold conferences from time to time, especially the Hyatt, right? So Greenville is, especially with all of the academic environment we have, really is a destination for these kinds of conferences. And I think it's kind of our responsibility to keep up to date and to make sure that we are aware of everything that's going on. You might ask, okay, well, how do we prove we went to this conference? How do we make sure that we get credit for our attendance there? Well, a brochure, a program, an agenda, a sign-in sheet. Sometimes they even give you certificates of attendance, which then let your supervisor know, your department chair know that you did attend any one of those, that you did attend a conference. So I'm a big fan of these. Option number 3 is massive online courses. Has anyone tried to do one of these before? What was your experience with it?
I'm taking one right now on library advocacy.
Okay.
And it's been really good. It's a 6-week class. It's free, and you can just take it and just learn, or you can do the certificate thing. So you have to make sure you take certain quizzes or host to certain discussions, and then you can get a certificate for it.
And the certificate is free?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Because I'm going to be talking about a couple of websites that we can use. And some you'll kind of run into minor issues that some of the certificates, you can take the class for free, but to get the certificate you have to pay like $39 or $40.
Yeah, that was another one. There were 2. The one that I'm doing is edX, and that one's free.
And that one's free, and I'll talk about that.
Yeah, the other one, you had to pay about $49 for a certificate.
Mm-hmm. So this first one is coursera.org. And it's great because take the world's best courses online for free. And usually what's great about anything that you see .org, and I'm sure you all teach your students this as well, that it's verified by some sort of expert field, right? .org, it's usually the safer bet, right? And so, did I have a question? I'm sorry. No, I thought I heard, sorry. So a lot of these courses are actually taught by professionals in very highly respected institutions of higher learning. So how do we know that this information is even verifiable, right? And that's some of the challenges that we run into with online courses, right? Is sometimes you think, okay, who's teaching this? What are their credentials? And how do I know that it can actually count as professional development hours? you spend all this time and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, this was taught by someone that doesn't have a master's degree or a PhD in their field. How do you know that it's verifiable information? So this is free online courses in any field, and most span over a few weeks. The pro is that, like I said, there are verified certificates of completion and accomplishment, which establishes legitimacy, right? And I was talking about, the certified professionals in the field, which also establishes legitimacy. But the con, this is one that I found sometimes that you really have to dig through this website in order to find certificates that are free. So you can take the class for free, but then it's almost like you don't have proof to give to your supervisor that you actually attended the class. Okay. And then edX.org, I found this one to be really the best way to go because most of the lectures come from Harvard or UCLA. So it's with the understanding that it really is designed for people just like us, that are seeking higher education in their field. It tells students, I like this one too, because it tells prospective students the duration, time commitment, and estimated effort required for each course. So if you know, okay, I have 6 more hours left of professional development to do, you can look through the courses and say, and they'll tell you 6 hours worth. So it's like you can gauge, what's, if you're limited with time, what's gonna, fulfill those hours for you in a timely manner. And there's usually no prerequisites. And that's another thing that I found is there are a lot of courses that I was interested in taking, but then you had to take this one course first, and then you had to pay X amount of dollars to take, so sometimes you'll run into roadblocks, but with this I like it because anybody can take it. You don't have to have a prerequisite in order to register or sign up. And then the honor code certificates are, like I said, seemingly free, and you found you haven't had a problem with it yet.
No, and I'm doing
So,
the edX one.
The edX one. And then we have Udacity.com. And what I found about this one was this one doesn't necessarily apply to me personally because it's all about math and data analysis and computer programming. So for anybody, Mauricio, anybody that's in math or IT, even microbiology, anything like that, this would be a great resource for those people. You also, and the subscription is pretty inexpensive. It's like $20 per month, $19.95, I believe. And it also gives you access to a lot of scholarly journal articles that EBSCO, that our online database, might not have access to. You get a personal coach that you can ask questions like, has anyone done their taxes yet? Does anyone use TurboTax? Does anyone use the chat? No? They're actually pretty helpful. If you have a question, you could type in a sentence, and there's somebody a real person on the other end that answers you within like 30 seconds. It's amazing. So this Udacity.com utilizes a very similar approach to, kind of somebody guiding you through the course if you have any additional questions that you're unsure of. And the verified certificates also require a subscription. And like I said, the fields of interest are math, science, business, finance, IT. So for me, it wouldn't really apply. I found the edX to be much more, applicable to my particular field of interest. And then, has anyone heard of the Great Courses? Has anyone taken one of these before? Kind of. Okay, so when I was first looking at these, I heard really good things about them. But when I looked them up online, $517 to take a course. And it usually is like 48 to 50 lectures, and it goes through, it would take you any 58-hour course. So you have to go through a lot of time. Now, there are other courses that are only 12 hours, or 18 hours, or 4 hours. You just kind of have to dig through. But what I did find, does anyone have an Amazon subscription here? I mean, I do. because
Amazon
I
or
get,
Amazon Prime.
well, Amazon Prime, Amazon, any